Today, we're diving into one of the most dynamic and frankly misunderstood nations on Earth, Nigeria. It's a place of absolutely staggering scale and just jarring contradictions, a country where the future and the ancient past are living side by side. So, let's get right into it.
So let me start with a question for you. What on earth do the highest concentration of twins on the planet, a film industry that actually dwarfs Hollywood, and an ancient wall that rivals the Great Wall of China, what do they all have in common? Well, they all exist inside the borders of one single extraordinary country.
And that country is Nigeria. With a population of 229 million people, it is, by a massive margin, the most populous nation in all of Africa. A true giant.
And you know, that title, the Giant of Africa, that's really the central theme for our explainer today. Because Nigeria isn't just big when it comes to population, it's a nation of profound diversity and these incredible contrasts, a place where so many different worlds are existing all at once.
Okay, so let's get our bearings a little bit. Nigeria is right there in West Africa, but its landscape is anything but uniform. I mean, it stretches from the sands of the Sahara up in the north, all the way down through these dense tropical forests to the Atlantic coast in the south. Its name actually comes from the mighty Niger River. And its landmass is it's vast. You could fit more than 7 countries the size of Greece inside its borders.
Now, this geographic diversity holds some incredible natural wealth. But that wealth, well, it reveals our first major contrast, what's known as the paradox of plenty. This is really the story of how a nation's greatest blessing can also become its deepest curse.
On one side of the coin, you've got an absolute economic powerhouse. Nigeria is a top 10 global oil exporter. It has Africa's second largest economy and is home to its single richest person. But then you flip that coin over, and the reality for millions of people is just tragic. The Niger River is the most polluted in Africa. Over half the population lives in extreme poverty, and the Niger Delta is facing total ecological collapse.
And that environmental cost, it's almost unbelievable. We're talking an estimated 30 million liters of crude oil have spilled into the Niger Delta's ecosystem, and get this, every single day. It's a disaster that has literally turned a life-giving river into a toxic wasteland.
And on the other side of that coin, the wealth is incredibly concentrated. The richest person in all of Africa is a Nigerian businessman named Aliko Dangote. His fortune, built on things like cement and sugar, is this powerful symbol of the extreme wealth that exists right alongside such devastating hardship.
So, from those economic extremes, we now turn to the social fabric of the nation itself. See, Nigeria's story is one of a constant tug-of-war between these powerful forces of division and equally powerful forces of unity.
You really can't understand modern Nigeria without looking at its turbulent birth. Just a few years after gaining independence from Britain, tensions over ethnic identity and, you guessed it, control of the oil fields just erupted into the brutal Biafran Civil War. The nation was eventually reunified, but it came at the cost of an estimated 2 million lives, a scar that absolutely still shapes the country's psyche today.
And that historical tension, you can see it mirrored almost perfectly in the country's religious landscape. Nigeria is split almost exactly down the middle. You have a predominantly Christian south and a predominantly Muslim north. This religious and geographic divide, it remains one of the most significant fault lines in Nigerian society.
So, you have to ask, what holds a nation with such deep divisions together? Well, there are some really powerful unifiers. English, for example, acts as a common language across hundreds of different ethnic groups. The Naira creates a shared economic identity. And then, there's football. I mean, when the Super Eagles play, the whole nation becomes one. But maybe the biggest unifier of all is cultural.
And that brings us to Nollywood. This is not just a film industry, it's a cultural phenomenon, a juggernaut. Nollywood produces around 50 films every single week. Yeah, that's more than Hollywood. And these films are watched all across Africa and the world, creating this powerful, shared Nigerian story.
This leads us perfectly into our next fascinating contrast, the collision of the hypermodern megacity with these deeply rooted and sometimes, well, mystical ancient traditions.
So, welcome to Lagos, a chaotic, energetic, sprawling megacity of 17 million people. It is the economic and cultural heart of the nation and a symbol of modern Africa, home to the entire continent's largest bridge.
And yet, within that exact same megacity, you find Makoko, the world's largest floating slum. Here,
An entire community lives on stilts right over the Lagos Lagoon. A local school literally balances on 250 empty plastic barrels. It's this powerful testament to human ingenuity in the face of just extreme adversity.
Now, leaving the city, we find another kind of uniqueness. This place is Igbo-Ora, and it's known as the twin capital of the world. The rate of twin births here is just incredible. We're talking about 50 sets for every 1,000 births. To put that in perspective, the global average is around 10. It's a phenomenon that continues to fascinate scientists.
And Igbo-Ora, believe me, is just one example. Nigeria is also home to the Benin Moat, a massive network of ancient earthworks that's actually longer than the Great Wall of China. There's a village where men and women literally speak different languages. And ancient traditions are everywhere, like the cultural taboo against using the left hand, a practice rooted in historical ideas of hygiene, and ancient dye pits that are the oldest on the continent, keeping these amazing arts alive.
So we've seen the contrasts, right? Wealth and poverty, unity and division, the ancient and the modern. How do all these forces come together to shape what's next for Nigeria? Well, the answer really lies in one overwhelming factor. And that factor is demographics. It's people. Today, Nigeria's population is around 229 million, but by the year 2050, it is projected to nearly double, overtaking the United States to become the third most populous country on the entire planet. This single fact is going to define its future. Which brings us to our final and honestly our most critical question. This is the ultimate challenge for the giant of Africa. With its population set to explode, creating immense pressure but also just immense potential. Can this land of contrasts, this nation of so many different faces, finally unite to build a single prosperous future? That, right there, remains Nigeria's great unwritten story.